I'm going to be firing some of these. I've set you up in a position where you can sort of see. I'm going to be firing 3 aircraft. That didn't go very well. It dove. We're going to pick that up in a minute, and we're going to talk about why it might have done that. That was the first firing of my little one, and that sucked. It did not fly well. But we're going to show you why in a minute. I just wanted to show this before I fix it. Okay, now you'll notice they tend to drop down at the end. So let's take a look at that and see why that might be. Now, if you watch my other video on this little guy, you'll see why it did what it did. In fact, I just broke off one of my fins on the bottom. And so I'm going to pull the other one off for now. And I'm going to run it again just to see if that's the problem or what. But I know it's not. In fact, I misaligned the wings, guys. See that? Drops right to the floor. Not so great. And look, the wing came apart. So one of the reasons I'm doing this is to test airframes, guys. See that? It hit my finger, but it went up. And it's up because I just adjusted it a little. Nope, it was that one I adjusted on the floor sitting in front of you. So, let me just look at my control surfaces. Looks about right. So the reason I'm doing this series is because I intend on turning one of these into an RC plane. That hit the control stick. Hit my launcher. And so what I basically wanted to do was test a lot of airframe stuff. Now I've launched all of these before and they did not drop like that. See that? It went down and then came back up. See, with this kind of stuff, it all depends on the angles you launch at. Now look carefully, and you'll notice I've dialed in a slight bit of turn. Nope, just a little bit of climb to see if my tail surfaces are responsive enough. Look how far back that came, guys. Look at that. It bounced off and came right back. Now this is the fast one. This is the first one I made, and it still is awesome. But I did this for some reasons. Now this would have flown well, except for that. I've flown it many times and it does fly well. The P-51 had the same thing happen where the wing let go. Glue gun glue can be a pain, but it's easily redone. Now we're going to talk about this one, and before I do, I'm going to try launching it again, and we're going to see what happens here, because this has a flaw. I noticed when I built it, see that? It dropped itself to the ground again. And why would that be? So I'm gonna try launching it a little higher and see what happens. See that? As soon as I launched it, it dropped. So we're gonna take a minute here in my hallway, and we're gonna examine this, and I'm gonna show you why you want everything right. You'll notice this one's dropping. Take a look at the tail. I noticed when I did it, one side was already dry, and I thought, well, instead of correcting it, I'll just adjust it. Then there's the wing. I noticed that when I was doing the wing, if I can show you, there's a little bit of glue in the back of that wing underneath. You can just kind of barely see it here. Sorry about the lighting. Let's see if I can fix that for you guys. I don't think I can, actually. There we go. You see that? That glue in there? And the glue up in here? Okay, well that's there on purpose, but when you look very closely at the wing, you'll notice it's slightly angled down. It needs a little more under here and a little less here to angle the wing upward. If it's angled down and the tail is angled down, well, of course it's going to go down, right? So this is why your angles need to be important. Now, I set this up just to show you guys because I knew what I wanted to do here. So let's go take a look here and see if I can find my tail surface. But also, let's take a look here. See the damage? Some of these things are hitting pretty hard and fast. I mean, really, I can fire these things like a BB. So, I'm going to let you guys go. I just wanted to show you, if you want them to fly correctly, you need to make sure that everything is correct on them, or they will not fly correctly. Now, if you look really closely here, why did this drop? Gee, I wonder. I didn't notice it when I fired it. But it's because it popped either in flight or on the way there. Normally this one flies really straight and it climbs a little bit, and it didn't. But again, you look carefully at this wing angle. You'll notice it's slightly angled down. So this is something you have to be careful about when you set up your wing. You want to make sure, and again, when you look, it's got the exact same problem where I've got a little glue underneath, and that glue has thrown off the angle of the wing. So you want to make sure you don't get any glue up underneath. Now the P-51, I didn't bring that one because it flies epic. I brought a Control, which is this one, because it's perfect and it flies perfect, and it has been perfect since I built it, but I built it correctly. This one, I was up till 3 in the morning building, and I didn't actually do a perfect job. And you'll notice those little finlets at the rear made no difference whatsoever. They wouldn't start to matter until I was doing aerobatics with it. But before I get to that, I need to know if the tail angles are correct. So if you wanted to build yourself a small RC, guys, stay tuned and I'll walk you through it step by step. I promise that I would. Believe it or not, most of the steps involve this kind of stuff: design work, planning, analyzing its flight characteristics, and making adjustments. That's what we're doing. So I will show you the results, because this is going to get fixed, and so is this. And then the wing will be very different. It's because I redid this one when I cut the wing back, and I failed to have this sitting tight against this, and it should have been. And then my wing would be flat and not angled down, and then it would fly well. The tail isn't screwed up. The tail is fine. Needs a slight adjustment, but it's fine. It doesn't need to be re-glued or anything like that. In this one, the wing needs to be re-glued and the tail needs to be re-glued so that it sits level. I could have it on a very slight angle up, but only if the wing is also angled up would that be a good thing, and then the whole thing will climb well. And that is actually the setup that I'm going to do, because if you look at a real Viper jet, that's how it should be. Anyway, that's it for this one. I love you guys, and hopefully together we will build cool stuff. In fact, there's no hoping. You stick around, you follow my advice, I can help you build cool stuff. Keith out.